Welcome into the next lab for IPv6. In this lab, we're going to talk about routing with IPv6, specifically static and connected routes. Now, as I mentioned in the last lab, I went ahead and fleshed out all of this configuration inside GNS3. And for those of you that are playing along with your own version of the home game, this lab, configured as it sits right now, is available as part of the work files for this course. We're going to examine the static and connected routes on IPv6. Just like in IPv4, they work just about exactly the same. For example, if I do show IPv6 route here on Alternia, we see we have 3 local routes and 1 connected route. Here's the one network that's connected. Again, just like with IPv4, it's this local network here with the /64 prefix length. We also have our local routes, again, just like IPv4. These are the local addresses on the interfaces. Again, there is the actual global unicast or site local address. There is the prefixes for the link local addresses, all pointing at null 0, basically saying, if I don't know about these link local addresses, then they're not going to go anywhere. Again, they will not forward outside this particular network. And there's only one network on Alternia. Let's go over to Prospect and do the same command, and you'll see a little more information in the routing table. Again, there's our 2 connected networks, the 1 subnet and the 2 subnet. There's our local addresses, and again, the local routes for the link local subnets, the /10 and /8 prefix lengths. Again, it's important to realize that these routes work exactly as they do in IPv4. So you see, IPv6 really isn't anything to be scared of. So let's move on and talk about static routing. Static routing works exactly the same in IPv6 as in IPv4. For example, we can go into config mode, config T, and I am going to put a static route in the Prospect router that tells Prospect how to get to this F3 subnet over here on the right. So when I go back into Prospect, we're already in config mode, so I do IPv6 route. It's asking for the IPv6 prefix. In this case, I already have it on the clipboard, so I'll just paste it in there. And then next, we can specify either an interface or the IPv6 address of the next hop router, again, just like with IPv4 routing. This IPv6 address can either be the unicast address or it can be the link local address for this particular interface. In this case, I'll go ahead and put in the unicast address. Let's go over here on DIRS and do show IPv6 interface brief. The IPv6 address for this F2 subnet is that, so we'll copy that off into the clipboard. We'll go over here on Prospect, right-click and paste that guy in there, and we can set an administrative distance. Again, that gets into some of the more advanced routing concepts that's not covered at this level of the CCNA. But for our purposes, we'll just hit enter. And now, if we do show IPv6 route, we now have a static route to /64 subnet via this router. And again, just like with IPv4, I would have to go onto the before us router and put a route to this F2 subnet in the before us router so the traffic would get from Prospect through DIRS out to before us and from before us back. Again, these are very similar concepts to IPv4, and you know, they kind of made it that way on purpose, because if they made IPv6 so radically different to learn and changed all of the rules of routing and addressing, then no one would even try to implement it, because it would be like going from IPX to IP. Yes, I'm old enough to remember IPX and how it actually worked, in some cases a lot better than IPv4. Going from IPX to IP took quite a bit of a paradigm shift, and it will take a similar paradigm shift, although not nearly as sudden as it was going from IPX to IP. And that concludes our discussion of static and connected routing in IPv6.